Toys are fun, but they're less fun in your garage. Obviously you need to get them somewhere, and that's where eTrailer comes in. We have some things that make it a little bit easier and some things that just get the job done. This is one that's gonna make it a little bit easier for you. So these are the Erickson ATV-UTV Tie Down Kit, and this makes it a lot quicker and easier to get it loaded up so you can take your fun toy to someplace more fun. So if you stick around, we're gonna show you how we load it up, how it performs, and how we install it. All right, time to get the toys loaded up. It's always fun ripping around on the farm or whatever with family, friends, but obviously you got to get it there. And the fun part is driving it. The fun part is not loading it up and stuff, but this is going to make that process a little bit quicker. And with having the fixed points on the trailer, it's super nice. One, you can line it up with those, and that'll line up with our ramps. But two, we know where everything goes, so we know what we can or can't fit on the trailer. So let's get to it, shall we? One thing that I struggle with sometimes is lining up my ramps right, but with this, I know exactly where the tires are gonna sit whenever I'm done. But this way, I can just line it up with that board, just like that. And now I don't have to worry about it and second guess myself. And this is gonna be really useful for when you're loading up by yourself. You can do it by yourself with confidence, and confidence is key. So now that that's all done, I'm gonna go ahead and get in, get on, strap it down. There we go. I like the fact that I felt that little hump knowing I'm exactly where I need to be, because if you were to use E-Tracks or something like that, you never know exactly when you're where you need to stop. I have a winch on the front and a big bar, so if I went too far, I'll probably damage my vehicle. With this, no worries. With the kit, we're gonna get 2 of these straps. Very nice straps, and they're gonna go into our E-Track, and these are gonna be 2 inches wide by 7.5 foot long. So that's plenty long for all the wheels that are gonna work with this kit. It is gonna have a safe working load limit of 1,500 pounds and a brake strength of 4,500 pounds. So plenty strong for what we need and plenty convenient for what I want. So what we wanna do, we can start with this one. You know how E-Track works, just like that. And we'll go all the way around to the other side. We want to make sure and get it in the center of the wheel. Give yourself enough slack to get all the way around. Lock it in, just like that. You can use either one. I'm going to use the closest one so it doesn't really rotate at all. Just like that. Pull her tight, and you know how ratchet straps work. Let's go ahead and start clicking it down. Couple clicks, and we are good to go. As of right now, with one strap, this thing isn't going anywhere, but we're going to do the same exact thing to the other side. So it's all tied down, and it is so extremely solid that this is not really going anywhere. But what I did was I went inside and I put it in neutral, and we're going to go ahead and rip around the parking lot just to see what kind of movement is, so you guys can see how little it does move and how secure it is. Let's go. I'll go around the parking lot, and I'm going to do some quick stops and some quick goes. And I don't see it moving at all, which is good. move in and out of all these campers and trailers and boats and all that stuff. So now what we're going to do is go over the speed bumps, just to kind of simulate what you're going to feel on the road, whether it's a pothole or even maybe just a speed bump, wherever you guys may be going. So we'll see how she does, even in neutral. She's solid as a rock. So I got some oscillating speed bumps, so like uneven terrain, that kind of jazz. And I don't see her moving. There we go. Well, she did pretty good. She really did. The nice thing about this is we're not strapping it down and strapping down the suspension. So the suspension is completely unloaded. So when we hit these bumps and stuff, we're getting the initial travel of the suspension. So one, it's going to be better for your suspension. Two, it's going to be a little bit smoother for your equipment in the back when you wrap it around the tire. It's how I haul cars, side-by-sides, four-wheelers. Anything with wheels, it's the best way to strap everything down. Looking closer at the actual brackets itself, when it comes to dimensions, we're going to have an overall length of about 8 inches, a width of about 5 inches, and these are only going to stick up about 2 inches off the ground. So it's not really going to puncture your tires. It has a nice little rounded edge here, and it is made of steel with a powder coated finish, so it's not going to rust away over time. This trailer obviously sees a little bit of rain. It is right now, and that's going to be fine. It's going to look just as good as it does now for a couple years to come. It does start to kind of wear away. That's just because of the tire rubbing up on it, but that is all good. It's not going to rust away. It's going to work with any type of E-Track accessory, but of course it just comes with the straps, so just use those. But if you do have any other straps and these aren't with you for some reason, it's going to work. They're all pretty standard sizes. We went over some specs with you and we showed you how they worked on our test course footage. So now all we need to do is show you how to install them. So first thing you want to do is take your equipment and put it on the trailer where you want it to sit. So we already had this done. Basically what I'm going to be doing is reinstalling these to put the backing plate on the back to make them a little stronger. So we took our Ranger, we rolled it up, put it where we wanted it. You're going to position your first in front of the tire and then the one obviously in the back behind the tire, and butt it up right up next to it so it's a nice snug fit. And then take a Sharpie or something and mark it out. Make sure they're nice and level and straight. And then what we can do is we'll start the installation process. I went ahead and took the hardware that was existing on here out because I'm going to install the backing plate on the underneath, and it does come with our own hardware. It comes with 4, but obviously there's going to be 6. So we're going to go ahead and just match this hardware with some that we have here at the shop. So what we want to do is drill out these holes to start. So I'm using a 1/4 inch bit and go ahead and drill these out. I'm putting the backing plate on our tie downs just because it's going to make it a lot stronger. The holes line up, which is always awesome, but since these are tie downs, we're going to be pulling up on them with a lot of force. With the threaded piece, those hardware, it's just going to eventually start to tear through and hone out this hole. It's not really going to do a whole lot. With this, it's going to go all the way through this one board and pull up on the board when we're going to have a washer and a lock nut on the other end. So it's going to be a lot stronger and it's not going to pull through. We want to make sure that the tie downs are going to be on the outside of the tires because that's what we're going to use to tie it down. So make sure that the tracks are going to be facing away from each other on each side. And then you can go ahead and take our hardware, kind of get it started. You can grab an 11mm socket to drive it all the way through. You can do the same exact thing for the remaining of our holes. Now we can line up our backing plate. Holes should line up, and if they're not lining up, just kind of rotate that bracket. And And one thing I ran into is this one was giving me a little bit of trouble because a lot of the times they don't go down through the wood straight. So what you can do is do what I did and drill out the hole to make it a little bit bigger to where we have a little bit of wiggle room like you see there. So now that that's done, hold it up there and we'll take our washer and nylon lock nut and get those threaded by hand. You can either zip the first one up to where the plate holds itself up, or you can just do what I'm doing and put them all on and then tighten them all up. Depending on where you're installing this, you might need an extra set of hands since this is pretty close to the edge. I should be able to go underneath there and hold the nut while I tighten up here, but if that ain't the case, you might have to do something with somebody else. So go ahead and grab what you can and line it up. I'm using an 11 mil socket. I'm not going to completely tighten them down, so I'm going to go to the next one. So straight across, kind of like a star pattern, and then get the rest of it all tightened up. So now that this one is done, we're going to do that same exact process for the remaining 3 we have to do. So that wasn't too bad, only took me about 30 minutes or so. So now that that's done, what we're going to do is go outside, grab the side-by-side, load up, and we can be on our way. Hopefully that gave you an idea of how well they're going to work and how much less hassle and time we're going to have to take to get this all lined up properly. I love it, and these are going to be on my trailer guaranteed. And again, this was the Erickson ATV Wheel Chock Tie Down Kit, and I'm Adam with eTrailer.